Oh, we're unmuted. I think I just did that. Yeah, so hi everyone. So we are going to crack into our webinar now. So if we can get this going. So my name is Greg Verhoef and I'm the moderator for the webinar today. So I'll just sort of be sitting here in the background, just making sure that everything is running smoothly. And if you guys have any questions, then I'll facilitate those at the end of the webinar. So if you haven't used Zoom before, down along the bottom there should be all your settings there. So you've got audio settings if your sound isn't working, which hopefully it is. If you've got any questions, there's a Q&A button, so you can hit that and just type us a question there. Or if you need to leave, you've got the leave meeting button down the bottom as well. So our panelist today is Greg Verhoef, who is the primary of Greg Verhoef Chartered Accountant. You guys probably all know him or have heard of him or have seen us around, obviously, if you've signed up for this webinar. So I will leave it to him to carry on the webinar.
Very good, thank you for that, Shannon. So yeah, we've done a couple of these now, so we're getting a wee bit better at them, but please bear with us if we have any technical problems. We're always learning, but yeah, that's a good way of being able to share information with my clients and also anyone else out there who's who wants to know a bit about business sort of side of stuff. So just like to kick it off there with some words from Thomas Jefferson. If you want to start something if you want something you've never had, you must be willing to do something you've never done. Apparently these were written about 230 years ago, and they're as true today as they would have been back then. We've got a background about myself. I'm a chartered accountant, been through varsity, done the degree, did my final qualifying exams, worked for a number of different firms over the years, but predominantly all with small, medium enterprises, lots of family businesses, everything from rental properties to my bigger clients, probably about 20 or 30 odd staff. Not really playing in the big corporate sort of field, but definitely have had 20 plus years working with lots of those average family-owned sort of businesses. All right. So the agenda for today, we're going to talk a bit about change and what's required to change, a bit about the roadmap, how to change to get from A to B, the dashboard you might set in place or some of the things that you might have on a dashboard to monitor your position. And then we flip through the 7 ways, which is what the presentation is about, of course, of ways to grow your business. We have some examples or some figures to have a look at and show how just even small tweaks and small changes in those sort of 7 key areas of a business can have quite big effects on the bottom line. And then there's some follow-up steps, and we can end up some questions and answers. If anyone's got any questions, please think about them as we go, and fire them in as we go. We can answer at the end. Yeah, it's good to, as you think of things, just fire them in. All right. Choosing to change. So there's been quite a lot happen recently, I suppose. It's been a messy 18 months or 12 months, I suppose, since our initial lockdown. And things are changing all around us. And I suppose we've all become a wee bit more adept to changing our business. But change doesn't happen on its own. You have to make the choice to change, and sometimes that change is forced on us and we have to do things. And other times we might want to change because we're going to better our business. Now we talk about the 5 A's of change. So the first one, the awareness, is just being aware that you need to change. That things aren't going as well as they should be, or you can see the future coming where things are not going to be as great, or that there's just you want to do better. So in order to do better, you can't keep doing the same things and hope that things are going to get better. So step 2 is the acceptance that you need to change. May not be easy, but the alternatives of not changing, of course, is maybe worse performance. So you've got the awareness that you need to change, and then there's an acceptance that yes, actually I do need to do something about this thing. So step 3 is action. Change won't happen unless you do something. You need to take action. Most people get a bit stuck on this point, and this is where you've got to create some actions that actually follow through and do things in order to effect a change. Accountability. If no one's watching, what's that saying? If a tree falls over in the forest and no one's listening, how do you know it fell over, or something of those effects? But if no one's helping with your business or keeping an eye on how things are going, then there's no ability. There's no accountability, and that's where it's really important that someone is working with you, and you're accountable to someone to actually following through with your actions and making those changes in your business. And that's something that we help a lot of clients with, and just keeping in touch with them to see how their changes are going, and see how we can help along the way there too. And finally is the acknowledgement. So that's really a sort of a bit of a feedback side of things. So once you've made some change, you acknowledge you've changed things, and then you measure the performance and see how those changes have affected your business. And if things have gone well, everyone should go out and celebrate and share your improvements with your team, and let people know that you're doing better, or celebrate a bit of those good things that have happened in your business. Right, the roadmap, getting from A to B. Well, the first thing, with a roadmap, of course, is you actually need to know where you are to start with. You can't figure out on your map how to get from point A to point B if you don't know where you are. Of course, Google's very good at telling you where you are if you use Google Maps, but it still needs to know where you are to start from. And if you don't have your location services turned on your Google Maps, it won't tell you how to get to where you're going either. So you start off, where is your business right now? Where is it? How's it performing? What's its its turnover? What's its bank balance? What's its balance sheet look like? And so you have a starting point as to where you are. You then need to figure out what your goal is, or what it is that you want to achieve, and therefore you have a starting point and an ending point. So it might be that you're currently in overdraft by $20,000 and you want to get out of overdraft within 12 months. So your roadmap becomes, point A being overdrawn 25,000, point B being you're no longer in overdraft, and therefore you want to generate a cash surplus in your business of $25,000 for the year. So that's your goal for the year. So you know where you are, you know where you want to go to, and you need to have that plan. You need to have a set of steps or set of changes in your business that are going to help you to achieve and make headway towards getting from point A to point B. It might be that you've got an existing business plan, or it might be that you need to start from scratch and develop a business plan. But you need to have a plan, and you need to then implement it. We do a half-day business planning workshop. If anyone's interested to come and engage us to do that sort of service, like I say, it's half a day. We have a venue that we can use for that, and I would bring probably Shana, who's with me at the moment. She normally comes on and helps facilitate it, and we have a set of pre-work that we need the business to do first the week before. Some questions and stuff you guys need to dig out and answer. Then we sit down for our half day. We have a set of steps we work through to help develop your plan, and then we'll take that away and formulate that up into a 2 or 3 day business plan. It's quite a good way of looking at your purpose and vision, the values of your business, your budgets and goals, and what your business does well, what opportunities there are, what vulnerabilities there are, and the steps you need to implement your plan. Okay. Right, some examples. I'm going to look at some numbers here just to give some idea of what sort of things you might be looking at including in a plan. And it's not always that you may be planning to grow. It might be, in this example here, we've actually used an example where we're actually in a slight decline in the business. And it's just maybe we're reflective of where the economy is going. Maybe things aren't looking so rosy. We really just don't know. But this example was just sort of at a slight decline. But we're just going to work through some numbers for this. So let's say our existing profit is 150,000, and we want to at least make 130. Okay, so things aren't going so great, but we need to at least get that 130. And we're just sort of working backwards up towards our sales goal, if you like. So if our overheads are currently 350, and maybe our plan is that we're going to trim our overheads by a wee bit, so they're going to come down to 325. And if you add the two together, that means we need a gross profit of, under the old business, we were doing 500,000, but now we may only need, say, 455. The product that we're selling, we're assuming we're going to keep the same margin at 39%, and we work that back, we end up with a sales target for the year was 1.2, and that's now 1.6. All right, so just about this sort of way of setting those goals, working backwards from the profit that you need, adding back in the costs and the margins, you end up with those sales targets to what you need to achieve in the way of sales. It's really the takeaway from that. I'm actually hoping things aren't going to go that bad in the next 12 months. The economy seems to have been quite resilient, I suppose, in the last 12 months. There's been a heck of a lot of money pumped into it, of course, by the government. Unemployment hasn't gone up the way we had, and most of the domestic economy seems to be tracking on reasonably well. Tourism, of course, is affected quite badly, or anything that's service to the tourism industry is, of course, struggling a bit. These are the guys that are probably struggling the most. Anyway, we digress. Your dashboard. So just like when you're driving a car, we're talking about KPIs here, key performance indicators. So when you're driving your car, you've got some sort of dials in front of you that tell you how fast you're going, how much fuel you've got in the tank, whether the engine is hot or cold, how it's going. And all those sort of indicators and stuff. So when we talk about a dashboard for a business, we're looking at the same sort of things. Not quite how much fuel's in the tank, I suppose, but we want to know how much money is in the bank. We want to know how many sales you're getting, or how fast the business is performing, and we want to know the sort of key points of a business without getting into every detailed nitty-gritty transactions. Just what are the key things that we want to look at? So the likes for a manufacturer. Key points are things like the gross profit percentage. Out of our every dollar of sales, how much of it's going on costs, and how much of this is their gross profit. How much rework we're doing. That's a good indication, for a manufacturer as to how efficient the factory is actually running. So if you're doing a lot of rework, then obviously there's problems going on in the factory, and you need to try and work out what those problems are and iron them out, save those efficiencies. Work in progress days. So again, a good manufacturer, how long it's taking to get a job in and out of the factory, how much work is sitting in the factory. Debtor days is an indication of how quick your customers are paying you. So you always want to keep on top of that and make sure people are paying you. That's the aim of being a business, of course, is to generate some revenue. If people don't pay you, then they're not really good customers. On the other hand here, a retailer, sales are key for retail, dollars through the door, gross profit percentage, again, your markup and margin is achieving the results you need. Average client spend, it's always quite an interesting one. You've got to be able to track the number of transactions or customers that you have, and then the daily sales, divide one by the other to get an average client spend. And that's a really good one to look at, and you can sort of see how you're, if you're doing specific marketing or add-ons, or buy this and get a second one discounted, you can sort of see if those marketing things are actually working, whether they're actually getting people to buy more from your business. Transaction frequency, how often a client comes back, and this will just flip through the next slide. But yeah, you get the idea of what a dashboard's about. It's about looking at those key parts of your business and setting up a model that will generate that information so that you can quickly have a look at it every week or every month and get an idea or a good picture of how the business is performing without actually doing a full set of financial statements, which obviously has a bit of a cost or time involved with it. How to engage co-drivers. So this is really just coming back to that accountability and having someone who is going to make sure that you're actually keeping on track. So one of those 5 A's of change was making sure that someone is holding accountable. And as I pointed out back then too, just so we note my slides here, that we have a number of clients we meet up on a 2-monthly, 4-monthly or 6-monthly basis, and quite happy to be part of that process about checking that, where was your business plan, how far are we through that period, and what were your goals for your business plan, are we meeting those objectives, and are we getting there? Right. So minimising fuel efficiency, minimising wear and tear. We're talking about some actions here to achieve the outcome of where you want to get to. So really the top 4 things you need to do. First one is to make sure you do have a plan, set up an annual plan, whether you do it yourself or engage us or use someone else, or it really doesn't matter, but it's really key that you have a plan, because you don't know where you're going. Of course, how do you know if you're actually going to get there? Part of the plan should be an annual budget, because your numbers are sort of a key part of those things. So you should have a plan for the year and a budget that fits in with what that plan says. Or set out your 4 or 5 most important key performance indicators. The sales, the gross profit margin, your overheads, and it could be even something like staff productive hours or something like that. Those 4 or 5 most important things that you're going to keep an eye on, and have someone else, like us or whoever else, who's going to be holding you accountable to keep to your plan. Sometimes plans change, and sometimes the best devised business plan just falls off its wheels because something has changed, and that's fine. We understand that, and you've got to go back through that process again and go, right, what's our new plan? And we've seen a lot of that in the last year with so many bloody curveballs thrown at us through the whole COVID thing, coming into lockdown, going out of lockdown, losing the tourism industry. All those sorts of things mean some businesses have had to go through lots of business plan changes, I suppose, and come out with new goals and plans. Just going to briefly touch on the marketing flywheel here. As a key part of growing your business, of course, is your marketing. And sort of just breaking down a bit of where that marketing fits into things. So before we get the next few slides are the 7 ways to grow your business, we're just going to look at this marketing flywheel. So first bit we have here is in our wheel is we have strangers. So these are people that haven't heard about your business, and we can do some marketing to introduce them to our business, so that then they become prospects. Okay, so we do some marketing, they hear about our business, they're not yet customers, but they're potentials. They're people who might buy our service or product. We then do something with the prospects. We give them some marketing, we provide, find out what it is that they're looking for, we see how we can fit a product or service that fits their needs, and hopefully they then buy from us and they become a customer. And if we look after our customers and we delight them and we provide them with fantastic products or services and provide the support and the backup and are good business for them to deal with, then hopefully they become promoters, and they actually work to help us find more strangers, because they go out and talk to people and tell their friends or family that, hey, just done this, and these guys are great to deal with, they did this for me. And so if we look after our customers really well, hopefully we can turn them into promoters. That in return attracts more strangers, and a stranger who's been attracted from a promoter is an easier sell than getting straight out strangers who don't know anything about us, because a referral from someone that says, hey, I've used this business and they do great work, is a whole lot easier to turn that stranger into a prospect and a customer, because they've already got the referral from someone that they trust. And trust is a big part about making the sale. People want to hand over their, don't want to hand over their hard-earned cash if they don't know that they're going to get a good product or service in return. So if that trust aspect does make that a whole lot easier. So again, now we've got some marketing. So even though we've attracted them, we still need to do a bit of marketing and engaging to turn those prospects and back into customers, which result in sales, and we delight our customers with our service, and we end up with hopefully the wheel that continues to revolve around attracting, engaging and delighting our clients. We do that through marketing, achieving sales and delivering great service. And the idea of marketing is really to make that wheel rotate and spin as fast as it can, so that we're attracting more and more customers and growing our business through more people coming in the door. All right, have we drunk? 7 ways to grow your business. Seven aspects of a business. When you break it down, most things can fall into one of these 7 boxes as to what you can change or do in your business. And you can work on all of these things at once, or one thing at a time, or a couple of things at a time. Some have more opportunities to do more with than others, and you might choose for a start the ones that have the lowest hanging fruit to make the changes in first to get those results through quicker. So the first one is increase the customer retention rate. It's much easier to retain a customer than it is to find a new customer. I mean, that's we all know that, and that's been talked about for years. By looking after our customers, delighting our customers, we make them want to return. We therefore increase our retention rate of our existing customers. So what can you do in your business to delight your customers? What can you do to make sure they return? What can you do to make them want to come back and use you more often? Generate more leads. So we talked before with the marketing cycle. Best way to generate more leads is to look after our existing customers. But it's also about actually finding new customers out through our marketing as well. So there's the referrals from existing, and then there's also our marketing or advertising we might do to find more leads. Because we can't just rely on existing customers. It'd be nice if we can, but if you want to get that wheel spinning really fast, you've got to look after existing, look after their leads, but then also be always out there looking for some more new clients as well. Number 3, increase the conversion rate. So when we talk about conversion, we're talking about the number of prospects and leads that are getting turned into actual sales. And different businesses are different as to what their rate is. But if you, first of all, you need to actually be measuring that, or else you don't know what your existing conversion rate is. So you need to be logging all the leads that you get, all the inquiries you get, and tracking those into conversion rate to see how many turn into sales. I know when I did my time earlier on in an accounting firm, we did followed up lots of leads. Conversion rate for accounting services is actually really hard. We're down into single digits conversions quite often. And it depends a bit on the type of leads that you're working with too. So if you are just working with leads from websites and leads that are just out there, just in the marketplace, it might be quite low, whereas leads from a referral source are often a bit higher. But the important thing here is you're actually tracking your leads, and you're tracking your customers or new customers that come out of those leads, and you know what your conversion rate is. And then from there you can make some changes and see if those changes increase those conversion rates and increase the number of so if you have 20 leads, that instead of just getting 2 out of it, you're now getting 4 clients out of it. That's what we mean by increasing your conversion rate. Transaction frequency. So find ways to bring your customers back into the store more often, find ways to provide the service that you provide to them more often, find ways to do work for them more often. It's about the customers coming back more, and the more often they come back, the more they spend. So then again, this is working on this whole, easier to look after an existing customer and increase their transaction frequency than be finding new customers. So we've got a once a year service where you do something for a client once a year. Maybe you try to turn that into a twice a year service where you're touching base twice a year. Okay, out of our 7, we're up to number 5. So increasing the transaction value. So we've found more customers. We've got our customers coming back more often, and we're increasing the amount that they spend with each time. So it's about it is sort of like the do you want fries with that, but a bit more subtle, I suppose, as to actually working out what it is that your customers like. What sort of products they need or services they need, and adapting or fitting your products to fit their needs, and therefore they want to buy more from you. So it's increasing the value is it is upselling, I suppose, in a way, but it's upselling where it's useful to the customer, where it's you're not just trying to force something on them for the sake of it. It's they maybe didn't realise all the services that you provide and all the products that you sell, and by a bit of marketing or brochures or newsletters or emails, you can tell them about other stuff that you also do, and therefore they may actually want to buy more from you. Right, so those 5 are all based around increasing sales, and then there are 2 others. So this is number 6. Reducing costs of variable sales. So these are the costs, the raw materials that go into the actual product or service that you're selling. And it's about finding is there efficiencies that you can gain? Can you get the raw materials a bit cheaper? Have you asked your suppliers for any discounts? Are you doing volumes? You can ask for some volume discounts. Is there a slightly different raw material out there that's cheaper? Just finding ways of trying to deliver that product or service a bit cheaper. And then our 7th one here is really just our overheads. So every business has got overheads, and it probably pays to every 12 months or 2 years, I suppose, at the most, with your accounts, go through line by line and look at all the expenses that make up those overheads, and just work through them and see, is there any deals around? Do we need this? Is it something that we're paying for that we don't even use, which is the easiest thing to cut, of course, but is there another supplier out there who might give us a better deal? Is there a phone company who might give us a better deal? Is there a power company who might give us a better deal? Just line by line, looking down through each of those things. And that's something we can help clients with too, and do that sort of review and maybe pull out half a dozen things that are, look, these are things that we think maybe you could get some deals with, and let's work together to see if we can help do that. Just got to watch, I suppose, that you're not engaging us to do that. You're not spending more on our services than what we're saving. And there's a time and cost in everything that you do, of course, in your business. Of course, there's one proviso there, of course, is we don't want to reduce your accounting services. And even though we probably sit in the overheads, we see ourselves as as really an investment. You're investing in our time to help you with your business, and the more we can help you, hopefully the better you can do in your business. So we don't want to cut accounting fees. That's bad. Anyway, we'll move on. The growth equation. So this is just an example how small tweaks in numbers can result in quite big differences. So in this case here, we've got just some numbers. I'll talk through them here. So, and of course, you need to have systems to track these numbers, or else it's very hard to measure if you're improving things. So let's say in this example here, we've had 665 customers, and on average, they % of the time. So we have a customer's retention rate of 85%. and it gives us, say, 650 customers in the next year. We do some marketing and promotion of our business, and we generate some leads. We have a sales manager who's doing that, whatever we do. Let's say we have 145 new leads, and our conversion rate is 50%. So that adds us 73 new customers. So we'd say we have about 723 customers. We then add some transactional data in here. So the number of transactions a year. So currently our customers come back 1.1 times a year, and our average value is $1,560. But it gives us a total sales of 1.2 million. So 723 customers, come and see us 1.1 times a year, and spend $1,500 per transaction to give us that $1.2 million. Off that, we've got some costs of running our business, so direct costs of 70% and overhead costs of 265. And the example goes off the bottom of the screen, jumps off the top. We have a net profit in this case, which is our sales less our costs, less our expenses over here. Give us a net profit of 107,000. And we just, for an example's sake, we just want to show how the profit affects the value of a business. And this is not how you do a business valuation, but in this case, we're using a multiple of 3 to end up with a business valuation of 321,000. Just for example's sakes, business valuation is quite a specialised field on its own, and actually quite hard to do with a lot of small businesses, because it all really depends who is looking at the time to buy the business, and it's not like you're selling cars where everyone knows exactly what comes with the business. It's quite unique to try and sell a business and find the person who wants to buy that business, who's prepared to pay what it's worth. Can take a bit of time, and there's another whole probably webinar on how to sell a business that we should do one day. But anyway, this is just for an example. So we're saying our business is worth 300,000. Right, we set our business plan. We put in place some actions. We have our accountant on board keeping us accountable, and we have our KPIs in place measuring our results, so we can come along and measure what's happened from the changes in our plan. And we've done something, we've made some changes to delight our clients. So our retention rate has gone from 85% to 90%. So in the next year, we would expect to retain 689 clients. Unfortunately, in this example, our conversion rate's gone down, and maybe it's because we're spending a bit more time looking after our existing clients, and we're not spending so much time on our leads. So instead of acquiring 73 clients, we're just acquiring 65 new clients. So a bit of a reduction there, but it's more than made up in the fact that we've retained more of our existing clients. So our total customers now have gone from 723 up to 754 customers. We're working on finding out what our clients' needs are, and what we can do for them. So the number of points of contact or our transactions per year have gone from 1.1 up to 1.3 times a year, and we've increased the value of what we're providing to our clients. So we've gone from $1,500 through to $1,600 per transaction. That will generates us now 1.5 million. So you can see there's an increase there of about 320,000 from one year to the next, by making those couple of wee changes, increasing that retention rate and increasing the transaction and value. So none of these are big changes, but you can see how a number of small things compound to add to a bigger thing. Right, cost of goods sold. We've done some work reducing our overhead costs. Sorry, done some work reducing our direct costs. So our cost of goods sold have gone down, but our expenses have gone up. We've got a bit more marketing going on, a bit more support, some accountability. We're developing some systems and processes, and doing all those things we need to do to make changes. And things, if you make changes, it generally does cost some money somewhere to implement those changes. So in this case, we'll have some more expenses. Now, so our net profit has increased from 107 to 248. So based on a valuation of a multiple of 3, we've more than doubled the value of our business from 300,000 to 746. So profit improvement 141 and value improvement of 424. So I say these are all fictitious figures and probably a little bit optimistic, but I hope you understand that that shows examples of how to work that through, the importance of collecting that data as we go so that we can keep track of those KPIs and actually see how we are actually making changes and resulting in improvements in our business. Right, where do we get to? Jumped a few pages. Now I've lost my mouse. There it is. Don't you hate that when you lose your mouse? All right, so you have some choices. And you can come along today and listen to me talk and go, oh, that was nice. Go away and do nothing, which of course will result in nothing happening to your business. You could try a couple of things, find it's quite tough going, and then just retreat back to normality. Again, nothing much will change in your business. You could take some normal amounts of action, put in place some steps to make some changes, take on those easy ones, and see something result. But if you don't have a real plan in place to action to do that, then you end up with a mediocre result. Or you can take massive amounts of action. You can just go all out to figure out what your business needs, make some changes, engage us, make sure you're being held to account, that you really want to push ahead and make a big change in this next 12 months. And we just love helping our clients with those sorts of things. So we're here to work with those sorts of people. We quote there from Albert Einstein, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. How often do we do that? We do the same thing over and over and then wonder why things don't change. So while this presentation was about 7 ways to grow your business, it's as much about making changes in your business, because if you don't make changes, you're just going to have the same results. Right, what can we do to help? So business planning workshop, done a couple of these now. We have, like I say, some pre-work that we get our clients to do. We organise the workshop. We have a couple of us come along and facilitate it. At the end of the day, it's your business plan. It's got to be your ideas. We can throw in our worth as to what experience we've had working with businesses, but in the end, it's got to be your plan you come up with. We will help type that up and make that look in a nice format that you can understand, sit down with you and work that through. And that really becomes the basis of then adding some accountability to work through that business plan. So $1,500 for the half-day workshop, and then quarterly coaching from $125 a month. And we'll sit down every 3 months and just hold you to account as to how you go with implementing that business plan. So that's my 2 offerings from today. We have a 1-page 7 ways to grow your business action list. Really just works steps through 7 points and lists them out. And if you are new, we haven't caught up, had a cup of coffee, then I'm always happy to chat to new clients, have a talk about what we can do with your business and how we can help your business. Like everyone else, we're always looking for new customers as well. So, Shana, any questions come through?
All right. So if you guys do have any questions, just fire them through now. We'll give you guys a couple of minutes to ask any questions that you want answered or anything that you weren't quite sure of. We have had one comment come through from Debbie. It says, thanks so much, Greg. It was very great and very informative.
Thanks, Debbie.
Thank you, Debbie. So it's good to get some good feedback from you guys. Because again, this isn't face-to-face, so we can't see.
I assume you're all still out there listening. Yeah, we don't know. No, that's cool. Yeah, no, that's good. So we'll turn this into, we've been recording this. I hope our recording has worked all right, and it will go up on our website and Facebook page, links and stuff in the future. So you know, feel free to jump in and share it around, and that's what it's all about, is sharing a bit of our knowledge and helping our clients and other business people in the community out there to gain a bit of knowledge with these things. Right, so if that's that, we will just wrap it up. I think that is it, isn't it? I think it is. We don't need any more quotes, we've already done one. So thank you all for listening in, and I hope to catch up with you all soon. Thank you.